she's got the GoPro on her hat, really, to sort of do the post-race debrief, hasn't she? The
yes.
Togolova, the Cox of the Czech crew.
Really aggressive, the Czech crew, really just onto that second stroke really very quickly.
Very patient on the front end of the Brookes boat. I mean, the blades aren't kicking up any water. They're very flat and much sort of aggression going on. It's almost like a men's boat in that sense, the way they're stuffing it off the start. Be interested to see what the distance is, but I think patience might pay off for the women from Brookes.
Well, it seems to work for some of the crews we've seen earlier in the day, haven't we? The ones that have the time to put the blade in the water and transfer onto the legs seem to be winning. A bit of steering there from the 8 from the Czech crew, but getting out to about a canvas lead, just coming up to the end of the island.
So you can see in the Czech 8 there, Martina Stylirova in the 5 seat. She's in the middle of the boat, blonde-haired woman, hair in a bob at the top, but she is giving it some. Look at the yank at the finish. I mean, you can see the instructions there. She, well, she's tried to qualify in the Olympics with her pairs partner, Katrina Kopecka, in the stroke seat. They couldn't manage it.
So here they are, really being aggressive with how hard they're pulling the handle from the legs to their body, and really trying to get out to that half-length lead on Oxford Brookes.
So what's the Cox of Oxford Brookes, Ali McWillan, saying now to her crew? Because the coach probably wouldn't have known the form of their opposition. The Czechs hadn't raced at all, and
I think when you start the race, you have a routine that you go through, a whole transition to get yourself onto your race pace, and until you're on that position, you really can't do anything different. You just have to do a good start, find your race rhythm, and once you set into your race rhythm and you're doing something efficient, then you can start to look up and see what the other crew's doing and pitch your race. But just over half length clear, and they've stopped moving, the Czechs now, I think.
They put so much effort into the first minute of that race. I mean, we're probably coming through to a minute and a half now. Look at the steering. What a great shot that gives us.
And having to steer that hard with the rudder, it's like putting a brake on. It's going to take speed off the boat for that Czech woman.
How much has that cost them, Adrian?
Oh, it's going to cost them at least a few feet, hasn't it?
Why has it happened?
I don't know. They were steering all over the place. I don't know whether there's the pressures in the boat, the boat's not going straight, or
maybe the wind, it's the gush from the wind, or maybe one of the waves, but certainly that's been straight down the course from Alec McWillan on the Berkshire station there on the right, Oxford Brookes women's crew. And let's see if we can get a closer look at something that happened in the middle of that race. There's a little replay. So we're watching from the boom camera halfway down the course, and they
really close
to move right in. Oxford Brookes come out. Wow, that's great. And there's a danger of clashing. Phelps is not saying anything. He's almost got the umpire, that is Richard Phelps. And it's evasive action. It's the handbrake turn, isn't it?
It certainly is. That would have been very costly for the hard work the girls have put in to get themselves ahead. That would have been very costly, putting that rudder on. Poglarova,
the Cox of the Czech 8 there, really having to put the handbrake turn. She's looking to her left at the Oxford Brookes girls, who have been very cautious in the way they took the boat off, very smooth. It's fantastic testament to this Brookes programme. I mean, you've got someone in the crew like the 6 girl Grace McDonald, and she took up rowing 2 years ago at Buell Bridge, having joined Brookes in September, come to this level. The 7 girl Susie Deer, she started rowing at Oxford Brookes as a novice, and now they're in an event at this level, Adrian.
Yeah, that's fantastic, isn't it? And also here, that the Czech crew now seems to be getting back out to the half-length lead that we saw earlier. It's always tricky when you have that kind of rudder on, because it takes so much speed off the boat that it ruins your rhythm. So you need to try and put an extraordinary amount of effort in again to gain the boat speed so you can find an efficient rhythm again.
It's decent cover too, the Czech 8 have got. That's the distance between one set of puddles and another set. It's sort of a good guide as to how fast an 8 is moving, Adrian.
Yeah, when you look at the two crews, you can have a contrast. Who's the stroke blade? How far is it going past that puddle in each crew? And that will give you a sense of which crew is travelling furthest.
At the same rate, or depends on, I guess, on what the gearing in the boats are, but you can see that the Czech women are just clearing their puddles a little more effectively than the Oxford Brookes crews, and that's why these drone camera shots are so fantastic for the coaches to look at and for viewers and us commentators too. Wow, what a shot and a half that is down the court. I mean, you know, you've raced so far anyway. You see on the left of your picture Upper Thames Rowing Club and Remenham, but really you've still got, you know, a good 2.5–3 minutes of racing from this point to go.
At least they're not far past the halfway point. They really do still have a long way to go. but that's starting to look a lot better there from the. And the 5 girl, like you said before, really is aggressive, isn't she?
She's a powerhouse. She's a real powerhouse. Martina Stiller over there with the blonde hair.
And even looking at them there, it's not the prettiest rowing, is it? The bodies are moving around the place. They're just being really physical with what they're doing.
No, I must say, if I was coaching a boat, I would say you got to row like the Oxford Brookes women. And Alan French, I think he's coached them fantastically. And they are one of the top female universities, and really it's amazing that they're here in this event. It's a testament to the Oxford Brookes programme.
I mean, there's only 2 universities that managed to make this event, this and Princeton. Everybody else is some sort of composite crew, so really is.
Yeah, and there we see a shot. We were talking of them before. Annie Withers in the stroke seat. It's her first time competing at Henley Royal Regatta, and it's a race that she won't forget in a hurry. So we're going to see another race in the Remenham, the International Women's Eights, coming down later this afternoon. But
it's Princeton University earlier today raced against the Moseley crew, didn't they? And they won on the Berkshire station.
Princeton University, yeah, successful at Women's Henley. I mean, there's some top quality crews in here. Really, the standard is not far off the standard we're going to see at the Rio Olympics.
And this event, the Remenham, is the equivalent to the Grand for the men's event. So this is the fastest 8 in the regatta for the women.
Yeah, 4 remaining members in the Brookes crew from the last year's 8 that won the Senior 8s competition at Henley Women's Regatta, and the programme goes from strength to strength.
So you think with all this equality, gender equality, Martin, do you think there's space, or do you think there should be a women's Club 8 event in this regatta?
Do you know, it's interesting. I saw on Twitter that Steve Redgrave, on an interview with BT Sport, suggested that he was flexible to the idea of 6 days at Henley Regatta. If the regatta does go 6 days with gender equality, and Steve's right across that, of course, with his daughter having rowed for Oxford University, that there will be space, I think, for a women's Club 8. Henley's always moved with the times, reflected the international scene. And I may be speaking out of turn, but, you know, why not?
I agree. I mean, the standard of the crews is fantastic. If you look at the number of crews, just even at Henley Women's, 2 weeks earlier, the number of crews in the American universities that race, there's definitely will be demands for a club event.
Yeah, Title 9 in the US, which made a demand on all colleges that they spend at least 50% of their money on women's sports programs, did wonders for women's rowing. And
50% of all sports scholarships in the US go to rowing and women.
Absolutely. And well, hats off to this Czech crew. I can't remember a time I've seen a Czech women's 8 race internationally, but they have really set their stall out from the first stroke. Very strong. But what a great row from Oxford Brookes. Technical, and there's great congratulations. They didn't know the race was in the bag.
No, it was only just clear water there. Really, Oxford Brookes really stayed on terms and fought hard.